What's up, guys? Welcome back to Rip City Rundown, and I have a very exciting video. In this video, I'm going to be basically making a tier list and ranking every Blazers team since the 2009-2010 NBA season. We have about 13 seasons to rank here, and I have every season's, what we did in the playoffs, the roster, to give you guys a bit of a refresher of what the team was like. One more quick thing before we get started. Here's the ranking. I edited it a little bit. So we have S is contenders. Obviously, we haven't won a championship in the last 13, 12 years, but contenders is the S category in this tier list. And we got borderline contenders, pretty self-explanatory, solid team, and then poverty. One more final thing. Each year we're going to say is the championship year. So this 2010 is the 2009-2010 season, since the championship for that season was in 2010. Same with 2011. This is the 2010-2011 season, etc. Okay, guys, starting with the 2009-2010 season, this is the season the Lakers won back-to-back. Obviously, Aldridge was our best player. He kind of was the main man during this era. We had Brandon Roy, but he was hurt. He played about half the season. Greg Oden was also injured. He played, I think, 20 games this season. Tolliver. I didn't know we had Anthony Tolliver. Wow, that's crazy because he was on our team in 2018-19. But anyway, this was a solid team. I mean, look, we're talking 7th in offense, 15th in defense. So we were an average defensive team, and we were 7th in offense despite our players being hurt. And a 50-32 record is not too shabby. In the playoffs, yep, I remember the series. So we lost in the first round to the Suns in 6, 4-2. Suns were a good team, talented team. Had Steve Nash. They were the higher seed. But we played through injuries. I mean, Brandon Roy only played 3 games of this series. Aldridge was basically carrying our load. Oden didn't get any minutes this season. He was hurt. So, I mean, yes, we were first round exit, but we could have been more. So going to the list for 2010, I'm feeling A or B. I can't put us in borderline contenders. I can't, because we just weren't that. We were also just young too, but yes, we had injuries. I'm putting us in solid because I don't think we were that bad. Even though we did get bounced in the first round, we had potential to be better, but injuries kind of stopped us from being an A, borderline contenders, in my opinion, for this NBA season. Jumping into the next season, roster is kind of similar. No Greg Oden. So Greg Oden was gone this year. I mean, just so sad. I mean, not only could have we gotten Kevin Durant over him, but he was going to be a good player, but he just got hurt. Super unfortunate. But yeah, no Oden at all in this lineup. Some new names. I see Wesley Matthews, who obviously had a big role on our team, but similar lineup. Brandon Roy, once again, played through injuries. I think he played about 40 games this season, maybe half the games. LaMarcus Aldridge, still the main man on our team, carrying us. And then in the playoffs, we once again lost in the first round in 6. Already starting a first-round Blazer exit trend here. But to give us some slack, we lost 4-2 against the NBA champions, Dirk Nowitzki, obviously. And I don't know if you Blazer fans remember, but Game 4 was such an amazing win. We were down 20 points going to the fourth quarter. Brandon Roy comes in off being injured and plays, I think, one of his last. That was his last good playoff moment ever. It was so amazing. Brandon Roy hit 7 for 9 in the fourth quarter. Obviously, the scoring leader, giving us Game 4, giving us glamor of hope, tying the series 2-2, and then the Mavs just kind of took it away from there, if you know what I mean. But again, this was a solid NBA team, and we had to play through injuries. And I'm sorry, I forgot to check the offense and defense ratings, which is very important, which I'll do right now. Okay, so defense, same as the last year, average, middle. And we are 10 out of 30, so these statistics show we are a little bit worse than last year, and the record shows it, 48 and 34. So going to the tier list, where am I going to put this team? We forced the NBA champs to Game 6. We played through injuries. We didn't have Oden anymore, obviously. We had new young talent like Wesley Matthews, Nicholas Batum still developing. I can't put it higher than this team, but I don't think this is an A. I really don't think this is an A. I think this is a solid team because if Brandon Roy was able to play through all those games, I feel like we had a chance to at least get out of the first round. I don't think we're an A. I don't think we're that bad. So I'm going to put us in the same category as the 2009-2010 Blazers year. All right, guys, now we go to the 2011-2012 Blazers, and this was kind of an awkward year. This was 1 year after Brandon Roy left, but 1 year before Damian Lillard got drafted. So it was kind of a random in-between year. I don't know if you guys remember, we had Raymond Felton, Jamal Crawford. I mean, lots of just Raymond Felton to start off with. I remember him getting a lot of hate. 6'1", 205 pounds. Everyone called him Cupcake Man. He had a lot of turnovers, a lot of fat jokes in his way, but because no one liked Raymond Felton. But I'm not going to say he was bad, but obviously when you have Brandon Roy and then you don't have Brandon Roy the following year, your team's going to get worse. I'm surprised we were this much worse, though, because this roster, to be fair, isn't that much different. I mean, taking Brandon Roy away is going to make a team way worse. But we go from, a 14th rated offense to a 23rd rated, a 14th rated defense to a 23rd rated defense, which is obviously atrocious. The offense wasn't bad, 11th out of 30, but yeah, 28 and 38. That is not a good record. Obviously, we did not make the playoffs this year. So, for the 2011-2012, it's either going to go in C or poverty. I think I'm going to have to put in poverty. I mean, that record is just really bad. I mean, they're not even close to 500. Yeah, I mean, maybe just under 500. We can put them a 500 record. But since that record is atrocious, 28 and 38 it was, yeah, I'm going to have to put it in poverty. That was a random year, but things get better because now we go to the Dame era, which I'm excited for. All right, guys, the 2012-2013 Blazers. Look at that. Dame Dalla, 21 years old, fresh out of Weber State, 22 years old, something like that. I don't know. Obviously, the rookie of the year. I mean, I'm going to give Dame all his praise, but let's be honest, LaMarcus Aldridge was probably still the best player on this team. And yeah, I look at this roster, and it's honestly not impressive. I don't know what else to say. I mean, behind Aldridge and Lillard, I mean, nobody on this team can really, get you a ring or even a good playoff run for that matter. I mean, I'm going to give praise to some role players like Nicholas Batum. He's solid. But, I mean, this team is just not good. I don't know what else to say. I assume we did make the playoffs this year, if I remember correctly. 33 and 49, so yeah, we did not make the playoffs. 2013, so this was the year the Heat won the NBA Finals. 26 in defense. So, obviously, this is where the trend is going to kind of start, if it hasn't already started, of the Blazers just being a bad defensive team. 15th in offense, so not bad, but as Dame improves, our offensive rating as a team definitely went up. So, yeah, not too surprised. Where do I put them? I'm going to have to put this 2012-2013 team in the same tier as the previous year I just analyzed. I mean, the record's the same. They didn't make the playoffs. Yes, we had Dame this year, but it's just not enough for me to put it in the C tier. I mean, we didn't make the playoffs. I mean, if we didn't make the playoffs, you're already looking at a C and F in my opinion. So, yeah, that's going to do it for this team. Let's move on to the 2013 and 14 Blazers. All right, guys, we're now moving on to the 2013-2014 Blazer team. Looking at the roster, I mean, it's pretty similar to the season before this. I think the biggest change is that we acquired Robin Lopez, and he was our main guy, our main center, instead of J.J. Hickson. And I think Robin Lopez was just a more developed center, which really boosted our team. So that was a big factor. But I feel like the biggest factor on why we were so much better this season than the season before that is because Damian Lillard just simply improving. I mean, second year averaging. He's over 20 points. LA still doing his thing. So, yeah, this was an amazing. I remember our offense being crazy. So, yeah, 54 and 28. Huge improvements from the year before. Huge improvements. And I think the biggest reason, like I said, the Robin Lopez acquirement and then Damian Lillard simply becoming Damian Lillard, as we know. Offense, second in offense. We were the second highest rated offense in this season. Defense, 16th out of 30. I mean, that's not even that. I mean, that's bad, but it's not going to get you a ring, but that is not that bad. And yes, this was the year Damian Lillard hit the shot against the Rockets for the Blazers to win the series for the first time in 14 years. Obviously, you know, that iconic call. So, yeah, let's talk about this playoff. So, we beat Houston in 6. They were projected to win. They were the higher seed. We take care of them in 6. Impressive. Yes, we fell to a victim of the gentleman's sweep the following round. But to cut ourselves some slack, it was against the champions. San Antonio ended up kind of steamrolling their way to the finals. I mean, we got Yeah, okay. I didn't know that. Wow, they went to game 7 against Dallas. Did not know that one personally, but 4-1 against us, 4-2 against OKC, and then a gentleman sweep in the finals against the Heat, who just won the previous year. I'm just cutting us some slack, guys. Like, yes, we lost 4-1 in the second round, but we had to play a really tough team. Heck, the championship contenders, young Kawhi, Tim Duncan. That is why I'm going to put us in that A tier of borderline contenders. It's close to solid. It's close. I know maybe you're like, okay, we're not really contenders, but I think you could argue this Blazer team was borderline contenders. Maybe even that's a stretch, but for the sake of the list, I mean, they're better than these two teams, so we're going to put them in the A, and let's move on to the next season. All right, guys, let's talk about this 2014-2015 Blazers team. So, okay, you see CJ McCollum. This was the second year I think he was here, but just remember, guys, at this time, CJ McCollum was a bench warmer, averaging 6 points a game, coming in for garbage time, maybe some valuable minutes, but just don't think he contributed too much during this time into the player that he is now. But moving on, excuse me. So Lillard is obviously still getting better. He's on the rise. I think this was Aldridge's last year on the Blazers, if not mistaken. But I'm not gonna lie, this is a good starting five. When you have a starting five, Damian Lillard, Nicholas Batum, Wesley Matthews, aka Iron Man. I don't know if you guys remember that. LA, Robin Lopez. That is a solid starting five. It really is, and it brings some defense too. So we were 9th in offense, so fell off a little bit from the previous year, but not too bad. 10 in defense. We were a top 10 defense in 2014, 2015. Wow. And the record shows that, 51-31. I think we stayed pretty healthy this year as well, if I remember correctly, but we underperformed in the playoffs, and that was very disappointing. You could argue this was the most disappointing playoff, expectation-wise, this decade. I mean, maybe the Pelicans was more embarrassing, which we'll get to soon, but we have this great team. I mean, we're the 4 seed versus 5, and we lose 4-1 in the first round against Memphis. I remember watching this series in middle school being really mad, really disappointed. Like, I thought we were going to move on for the first round and follow that path we did last year of beating Houston in the first round. But no, we were actually down 3-0. Like, we won one game, and then we got gentlemen swept just like that. We just underperformed the series. It's unfortunate. I don't think that playoff run really portrays our season as a whole this season, but things happen. You got to perform in the playoffs, and we didn't, and that's what happened. Zach Randolph owned us. Gasol owned us. They were our daddies. I don't really know what else to say. And then they would lose to the NBA champions, the Golden State Warriors, in round 2. But going on this list, I think I have to put us in the solid category. I'm not going to put us in the borderline contenders, because when you lose in the first round, you're just not a borderline contender. As simple as that. But this team had a good record. If they were a top 10 defense, I got to put them in B. I think that one is obvious for me. All right, guys, now we go to the 2015-2016 Blazers. This is the first year without Aldridge. So, Aldridge was gone. It's kind of unfortunate, because he was such a good player, and he kind of carried our franchise before Dame showed up, and it's unfortunate. I don't blame him. He really did not get the help he needed. But looking at the positive from this year, this was CJ McCollum's year. This was his most improved year. This was the year that turned CJ McCollum into a 6-point off the bench player, to getting garbage minutes, to a 20-point player in just one season. This was CJ's season. He really stepped up and showed how he is the number 2 player on this team. We moved on from Robin Lopez this year and got Mason Plumlee. Similar players. I mean, you could kind of say they're interchangeable skill-wise. I mean, I wouldn't favor one so much over the other. But the reality is, when you take Aldridge off your team, your defense is going to plummet. And that's what happened this year. 20th in defense. It hurts. I don't know what else to say. 20th defense, you are going nowhere. Despite having a 6 rated offense, that's great. I mean, this was the first real year I think we got to see the Dame and CJ backcourt. But yeah, you're just not going to do anything. We have a 20th rated defense. We were 44-38 this year. I think we won the first round this year. Yeah. Yep. So beat the Clippers. That was a great series. Yeah, just CJ McCollum. That was the biggest difference maker this year. But then we fell to Golden State. That was a painful series. That was when Curry absolutely owned us. I'm pretty sure that was a series he made all those like overtime threes. I don't know 100% because I never watched that. Why would I watch that? It just hurts my heart when I see that every time on Instagram or whatever. But yeah, let's get to the tier list. I mean, I think I have to put this team in solid again. I'm not putting it at borderline contenders because the reality is when you have a 20th rated defense, you are not a borderline contender. But we did get by the first round, so props there. But yeah, I'm not going any higher than B for the 2016 Blazers. Okay, guys, now we move on to the 2016-2017 Portland Trailblazers. A little bit shifted different lineup. We have Al-Farouq Aminu, Maurice Harkless, and Nurk. This was when we traded for Nurk. And then obviously this was the second time we got to saw the Lillard and McCollum backcourt play together. And the problem with this team was the defense. And I mean, that's because of our age. We were the youngest NBA team. Look, we didn't have a single player over the age of 30 on this team. Not saying like 30 is like good. Obviously, that's old for an NBA player. But, you know, a 23-year-old Maurice Harkless, defensive-wise, isn't as good as a 25, 26-year-old Maurice Harkless. Same with Nurk. He's put on a lot of weight. He was a skinny 22-year-old this year. And then Dame and CJ obviously aren't good defenders. So that's going to happen. Obviously, LA's been gone for 2 years now. LaMarcus Aldridge. So you can see the defense just god-awful. 24th out of 30th. Oh, my gosh. Almost the worst you can get. 11th in offense. I mean, that's going to make sense. When you have Dame and CJ, you're going to put the hoop in the basket into the hoop. But we end the season with a 41-41 record, sneaking into the playoffs, sneaking into that 8 seed. But unfortunately, we had to play the 73-9 Warriors. Oh, wait, sorry, not that team. That team plus Kevin Durant. Yeah, we had no chance this playoff series. We got swept. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. I mean, sure, that's kind of an unfortunate matchup, but we had no chance. I don't know what else you want me to say. I mean, I'm going to put this team in the C tier, in the tier, because I feel like these 4 teams were better than the 2017 team. I mean, 500 record, getting blown out in the first round, swept. C tier it is. All right, looking at the 2017-2018 Blazers. Roster, I mean, we see us acquiring Zach Collins and Caleb Swanigan and Ed Davis. Now, we did not have those guys last year. I think in the 2016-17 team, we were like, our defense is really bad. We have to improve. And that's what happened. We got Ed Davis. We got Zach Collins bringing some defense. And look at that, 8th rated defense. And I think our starting 5 also improved all their defense. I think Dame and CJ, I mean, they've always been okay defenders, but I think Maurice Harkless improved his defense. I think Al-Farouq Aminu improved his defense. And I think Nurk improved his defense. So when you have all your starting 5s improving their defense, as well as bringing in some guys off the bench who can play some defense, Zach Collins and Ed Davis I'm referring to, then you're going to be a solid defensive team. And that's what we were. 8th in defense, 15th in offense. I would like to see that number a little higher. But let's be honest, Dame and CJ were the only ones who could really shoot the lights out on this team. I mean, I'm not confident giving the ball to anyone else. Maybe Shabazz. Okay, I'll give the ball to Shabazz, but I'm not confident in anyone else shooting the basketball on this Blazers team. And this was impressive. Impressive regular season. 49-33. That is a really good record. And yes, this was the year we got blown out by the Pelicans in the first round. This was painful, guys. 3 seed versus 6. Oh, don't know what happened, man. I mean, we just got swept after such an incredible regular season, which is really depressing when you think about it. I mean, it's similar to the Memphis series. You had high expectations, and just you get the polar opposite. Wow, just so unfortunate. I don't really know what else to say. I mean, Anthony Davis averaged like over 30. Drew Holiday killed us that series. He averaged around 30. Dame had an awful series, and that's about all she wrote. Like, if that's going to happen, then you're going to get swept. And that is what happened. So, going back to the list, I mean, this one's hard. We got swept in the first round, but we had such a good regular season. We're not in the A tier. I don't think we're in the C tier. I think this is another B tier. All right, 2018-2019 team. Spoiler alert, this will be the highest one on the tier list for obvious reasons. Dame, CJ, another year of their backcourt, and they played great together. But I feel like this was last team we looked at, the 2017-18 Blazers team, just amplified, especially in the offensive end. Because when you add players such as Seth Curry, Gary Trent Jr., your offense is going straight up. Maybe your defense comes down a little bit, but we were still a solid defensive team if I remember. Okay, 16th on defense, a little worse than I thought. But how about that? Third on offense. That is amazing. 53-29, beautiful record. Went right into the playoffs, and this was where the Blazers went on the run, winning 2 playoff series finally. After all these years of waiting, we finally won 2 playoff series, and then made it to the Western Conference Finals. This was the year Damian Lillard hit the game-winning shot against Paul George. This was the year where CJ McCollum had his historic Game 7 performance at Pepsi Center, knocking the 2 seed out and putting us into the Western Conference Finals. I hate playing the what-if game, but Nurk broke his leg, and what if he didn't? What if he didn't? I mean, yeah, what if Klay Thompson didn't get hurt? What if Kevin Durant didn't get hurt? Then Toronto wouldn't have won, blah, 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 blah. But it still hurts. Because the reality is, if Nurk was healthy, I mean, the Warriors swept us, but okay, I'm not making excuses off a sweep, but we were winning most, like, if you take the whole series and just pick a random time, like first quarter from game 2, third quarter from game 3, whatever, the Blazers were leading most of the series. It just shows how good of a team we were. We really choked, and that's part of basketball. You gotta keep your composure, and the Warriors destroyed us in the third quarter like they do to every team, and we got swept. I don't know what else to say, but regardless, this was such a fun year. This was such a great run. I mean, it was such a fun series against OKC. It was such a fun series against Denver. That was so historic, that series. Oh my goodness. I still remember the feeling of CJ just hitting 3 shots in a row to ice out, close out game 7. Oh, that was beautiful. But yeah, we got owned in the Western Conference Finals. Dame, honestly, just still doesn't have amazing help. I mean, this team's not bad, but it's hard to win a championship when you only have one like serious all-star here. But this team's going in the S tier. We were contenders. We made it to the Western Conference Finals. All right, the 2019-2020 Blazers were an interesting team. I mean, the biggest mistake is we get rid of Aminu and Harkless. I feel like these two were just solid defensive wings. I wouldn't call them two-way players, but like they could both bring some offense, make their open shots, and really bring some defense. And we got rid of them. And we got, Carmelo Anthony, Kent Bazemore, Trevor Ariza. We had a lot of new additions to this team. Obviously, with Nurk's injury, we got Hassan Whiteside, who's a good defender, but we were 28th defensive. Oh, my God. We were the second worst defense in the NBA this year. Like I said, I think getting rid of Harkless and Aminu that's the main part of the reason. But still, I'm surprised we were that bad. Like, I look at this roster, maybe we're 20th, but 28th, wow. I mean, it's kind of a little surprising, but our offense was good. Our offense was great. Third. I mean, this was Damian Lillard's best season. He put up the most numbers. He really just took over, and he had to because, I mean, this team, especially without Nurk, it was literally just the Dame and CJ show. That is all it was. This was the bubble year. So 35-39, we somehow, some way, despite that pretty trash season, regular season, snuck our way into the playoffs through the playoff play-in, whatever you want to call it. and played the Los Angeles Lakers, and our team was trash, but Lillard was just going out of his mind in the play-in. He against the Mavericks, that game was oh my goodness, Lillard was just going nuclear mode, and that's the only reason why we made it to the playoffs, and the only reason we won a game. We actually won the first game. We went up 1-0 against LeBron James, against the number one seed. And let's be honest, us Blazer fans were pretty excited. Damian Lillard's playing like a god. We're playing the number one seed, the Los Angeles Lakers. We just beat LeBron James game one. It's destiny, right? Yeah, well, no. We just lose 4 straight because we can't defend frickin' Anthony Davis, and he's shooting 50 free throws a game on us. That was really frustrating. But no, the Lakers were still a better team. I mean, they deserve to beat us probably, so I don't know what to say about that. But we have a 28th rated defense. I mean, the fact that we were even in the playoffs this year was a blessing in the first place. So, yeah, 28th defense, man. You're not going to go anywhere. 28th defense. You are not going anywhere. After we lost to the Lakers, you might think, okay, we were a bad defense. We were a good offense. We got to switch some things up, right? Nothing happened. 29th defense. Oh my gosh. I am going to scream. Wow, we were that bad. 29th last year. Wow. So we're the second worst defense in the league, but we're the second best offense in the league. So it's basically copy paste from last year. This year, Damian Lillard, I think Damian Lillard might have played better this year than 2020. I don't know. It was tight. These were both historic seasons for Damian Lillard, and we'll get to what he did in the playoffs soon. But I mean, the starting 5 defense isn't bad. When you have Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, okay, that's not great defense. But then you have Norman Powell, he can bring some defense. Nurk's a great defender, and then you got Robert Covington, who's a great defender. So I look at that starting 5, and I'm not like, okay, that should be a 28th rated defense. But then you go to the bench. With Nurk hurting his wrist, our bench was one of the worst defensive teams in NBA history. Anthony Simons, Carmelo Anthony, and Enes Kanter Freedom, whatever his name is these days, got absolutely torched. It's like, just let him by. Like, the defense was so utterly garbage, and that showed in the playoffs. I'll wrap up the regular season. So we went 42-30. We got into the playoffs pretty comfortably. I mean, not comfortably. Okay, 6th seed. I thought we were 5th seed for some reason. Anyway, but we have just such bad defense off the bench, and when you have Nikola Jokic who can play make, I mean, it's over. It's over when, like, I'm literally watching Nikola Jokic back down Carmelo freaking Anthony in the 4th quarter because Nurk's fouling out. Oh, that's on him. That's on him. But it was just gross to watch. And again, like the Memphis series, like the Pelicans series, you expected us to be better. Yes, we were a 6th seed, but we had Nurk out the whole year. That seed doesn't reflect us. We were probably really better than a 6th seed this year. We weren't projected to win the series, but it was projected to be pretty close. It wasn't expected Denver to win 4-2 it wasn't projected that Denver would win 4-2, but it was expected to be closer than people thought. And I mean, we pooped the bed. Damian Lillard had a historic season, had the best individual playoff performance in NBA history, getting 55 points on 12 freaking threes. The Blazers shot 1 for 19 in 2 overtimes, and Dame shot like 70%. So that was one of the just saddest moments I've ever experienced as a sports fan. And that is the reality. Damian Lillard just doesn't have help. The defense is bad once again. So this team was really frustrating, but they're not a C. They're another B. There are a lot of Bs. There are a lot of Bs, and it explains itself. It's just another first-round exit with bad defense, with Damian Lillard, the only valuable player. So I don't know what else to say about that. Yeah, and for the last team, it's not on here, but it obviously goes in poverty. We tanked. Dame got hurt. but I'm not mad. I don't know what else to say. I mean, we just had, you know, a bad start. I mean, we got a new coach. Things got shifted up. But I like the moves we're making right now. We obviously trade CJ. Jeremy Grant, we got, you know the vibes going into next season for the offseason. But anyway, yeah, so yeah, the Blazers from this season, F, poverty. But I don't have them because this list was made, whatever, a year ago. So that's gonna do it for this video. Comment what you guys think. Should I shift any of these, you guys think, or you think I got it pretty spot on? I feel like there were a lot of B's because there were a lot of simple, just first round exit mediocre teams. But that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe for more Blazer content. We come out with news. We make videos like this. We have such a big variety within the Blazers community. So subscribe if you want to see more of that, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.